Okay, we can start. So welcome to all back to the Digital Innovation Pavilion. I'm Domenico Vito. I'm a researcher at the Metabolism City Leading Lab of the San Diego State University, and here we are in COP30. And in this special day that is Ocean and Blue Economy Day, we're gonna show some example of the use of artificial intelligence for implementing sustainable development goals. So I'm here with my colleagues from the Metabolism City Lab, and I will certainly give the floor to Dr. Gabriela Fernandez for some welcoming remarks. And then we will go through some interesting presentation that can show how innovation can implement and can foster the sustainable development goals. So, Dr. Fernandez, the floor to you. Thank you very much for being us, and thank you to all the colleagues for joining.
Well, thank you again for having us, and thank you again to the Digital Innovation Pavilion for allowing us this platform to share the work of Metabolism of Cities Living Lab. I will now give the floor to the first team that will take. It will be Qatar, Dipsy, Sidar, and Sayali. So please feel free to share your screen. You have 10 to 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Gabriela. Can you see my screen?
Not yet? Okay, now yes.
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone. We are glad to be among you today in the COP30, presenting our work entitled Advancing Marine Microplastic Detection Through AI-Based Image Segmentation. Okay, but first of all, let me present our team. So we have first Dr. Gabriela Fernandez, who have a PhD in urban planning, design, and policy. Dr. Domenico Vito, who have a PhD in bioengineering. Professor Mohammed Bani, who is professor in molecular toxicology and environmental science. Dipsy, who is with us today, and who holds a master's degree in big data analytics. Siddharth, who's also with us today, and who is a researcher in data science. Myself, and I'm a PhD student in marine ecotoxicology. And Sayali, who's also with me today, and she is a graduate student in data science in marine and machine learning engineering. So, a microplastic pollution is a One Health crisis. It not only affects human health and environmental health. It threatens marine biodiversity, acts as a vector for pollutant and invasive species. It also infects human health, which was found in human blood. It crosses biological barriers, causes inflammation and oxidative stress, which connects environment, animals, and humans, and demands integrated response. Why monitoring microplastic is challenging is simply because there is a huge difference in using traditional methods and AI-based deep learning. The difference mainly in accuracy, time, scalability, and costs. So the AI-driven detection have developed a deep learning segmentation model using polygon-based accuracy. It outperforms traditional methods using AOU benchmarking, and it aligns with global AI-based environmental monitoring like drones and satellites. There are different ways for detecting microplastics. So first of all, we have the traditional techniques like the FTR and Raman spectroscopy. They do have high specificity, but they are labor intensive, they cost a lot of money, and they have a low throughput. The emerging thermoanalytical methods, they have chemical identification, they do have high throughput, and they are also complementary to spectroscopy. Whereas the deep learning approach, they are based on automated segmentation, and they give out a pixel level accuracy. The artificial intelligence for scalable detection of microplastic have been used in different ways. As for object detection framework. It gave out a fast, accurate, suitable for real time and large scale monitoring. For as a segmentation tool like CellPose, it turned out to be effective for complex imagery. As a performance metric like CMAP and IOU, it evaluates detection and localization, which lead us to say that the AI methods enhance scalability, efficiency, and reproducibility, complementing traditional approach always. So our work mainly focused on 6 types of plastics, and the data set was collected from the coasts of Tunisia, mainly in the coasts of Sousse specifically, between March and May 2025. So we collected 6 types of plastic among another category labeled other, which contains other type of things that could be found on the beach, but that is non-plastic, like cigarette butts, Posidonia leaves, shattered glass, and wood. So in total, we collected 1,080 high-resolution images. And the first thing that was done was the annotation process using RoboFlow, a polygon-based segmentation, which captures irregular shapes better than bounding boxes. But some challenges were found for some types of plastic, like the LDPE films, which was semi-transparent and wrinkled. The reflection of the PET and PS caused false contours, and the foams were porous and they had irregular shapes. But all boundaries were manually validated, which created a ground truth dataset. Dipsy? Dipsy, hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Dipsy. You can take on from now.
Okay. Sorry. So let me begin by explaining our annotation process and data augmentation strategy a little bit. To create high-level quality, like ground truth labels, we perform manual-based segmentation, as Qatar explained in RoboFlow. Polygons were chosen over bounding boxes because microplastics have irregular and non-rectangular shapes that require detailed tracing. And every image was manually inspected. Some materials were especially challenging, as Qatar mentioned. For example, LDP, PET, and PS, and some foam fragments have their own challenges. After creating the masks, we manually validated all annotations to maintain the highest accuracy. To improve model generalization, we applied horizontal flipping, which basically doubled the data set from 540 to 1080 images. Polygon coordinates were also recalculated to maintain segmentation accuracy, and we performed visual checks to ensure no distortions were introduced. Overall, the augmentation basically helped us preventing overfitting and expanded the variability in our dataset. Uh, so now that we have covered the data set part, let's look at how images were distributed across different plastic types. This slide basically shows the distribution of images across different types of plastics. We included common marine plastics such as PET, HDPE, PP, LDPE, PS, as well as PA. We also included a category as background, which represents images which doesn't have any plastic material but other materials which are found on the coastal environments. We also prepared some mixed plastic categories such as PP, LDP, PP, PA, and others, since mixed materials appear frequently in the real world coastal environments. Next slide, please. So this slide basically shows the first version of our proposed pipeline for plastic identification. Step one shows like we start with a raw image. Uh, and step two, like we try to identify the presence of plastic fragments using edge detection techniques. In step three, you can see like once detected, the fragment is classified, for example, in this case, as HDPE using machine learning models like YOLO. This pipeline basically provides a structured approach to move from raw images to category level plastic identification. Uh, in the real environment, however, the camera captures many types of coastal debris. The second pipeline shows the same structure, but it focuses on the known plastic materials we can frequently see during beach monitoring, seaweed, cigarette butts. Here again, we do the same process, like detect the object first and then classify whether it's uh, like other category like seaweed, cigarette butts, or something, some other type of litter. Together, these pipelines basically show the framework we are building for automated debris recognition. Next slide, please. So, however, an important detail here is to be that very first step for both pipelines depends on accurate boundary detection. Up until now, we have been drawing all boundaries manually using polygon annotations. While this gives us clean, high level ground truth, it is extremely time consuming, especially because microplastics have irregular, semi transparent, or reflective edges. To scale this pipeline and to make it practical for larger data sets or continuous monitoring, we need to basically automate the boundary detection step. So, this basically motivated us to evaluate segmentation models that could potentially assist in manual annotation. So in this slide, we compare two automated segmentation models against a manual baseline. Our hand-drawn polygon masks serve as the reference. We evaluated SAM's segment anything model, a transformer-based model known for producing general-purpose masks with minimal input, and Selpos, which was originally developed for biological images but is particularly strong for irregular or organic contours, similar to like many microplastic shapes. We used intersection over union to compare each model's predicted boundaries to our manual annotation. This analysis basically helps us understand which model can best automate the boundary detection step in our pipeline, reducing manual effort while still preserving the fine scale accuracy. Now, Siddharth will explain more about SAM.
Siddharth, are you there? Please continue.
Yeah. For SAM is the segment anything model developed by Meta AI by Facebook. It generates masks using the bounding box technique. Can we move to the next slide? I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Uh, so SAM, yeah, please move to the next slide. SAM is a transformer-based model that's been trained on 11 million images. It has been trained to generate 1 billion plus masks, and it has a lot of customizability. We applied post-processing filtering to remove irregular shapes, to capture huge chunks of LDPE types of plastics. Let's move to the next slide, please. So to compare how good the SAM model is performing, we tried to evaluate it against the hand-drawn, manually annotated ground truth images. So on the left, you see red, which is basically all the plastics identified by manually annotated boundaries. In the middle, you see green, which is the boundaries, the masks generated by the SAM model. On the right, you see yellow, where there is an agreement between the manually annotated masks and the SAM masks, and green is a false positive, and red is a false negative that the SAM model didn't pick up, which it should have picked up. So this visualization follows the idea that color mixing, that red plus green makes a yellow. So yellow is where we see the agreement between the manually annotated masks and the SAM model. For this example, we have an agreement score of 70%, which means there is 70% agreement between the manual ground truth and the annotated masks. Can we move to the next slide, please?
Yeah, please go to the conclusion.
Results for PET, HDPE, and PP, which have clear, concise boundaries, which are compact and kind of solid. We see that SAM model performs really well with an average score of more than 0.55, 0.56. But it struggles where the plastic is flimsy or translucent or unclear boundaries. Moving on to the next slide. Here we see the distribution of the accuracy score. Again, the first three, the PET, HDPE, and PP, they have most of the mass boundary images identified are above 0.5, 0.6, which goes to say that we can SAM model is good to be used for boundary detection techniques, and for LDPE or other mixed types of plastics, we still further need to train the SAM model. Going to the next slide. This slide is again a distribution just to show how far away from the mean for the mediocre performing or the worst performing plastic type is. I'm going to skip and call in my colleague, my fellow researcher Sayali, to talk about the cell pose model.
Guys, let's go to the conclusion, please. Go to the last speaker.
So, working off cell pose. Cell pose is a deep learning model for cell segmentation and microscope. So how does it work? So, we input an image in neural network and in a unit distributional network, and then the network predicts two key things: cell probability and flow field. The pixels are cell centers, and then are formed, and then we see a mask form around an image. The key strength of the cell pose is to uh, manually annotate. Okay, next. Here we can see the manually annotated versus cell pose in an example of HDPE. As discussed previously by Siddharth, hand-drawn mask shows the red part and the cell pose mask is the green part, and then we combine two masks and overlap, and we get a yellow colored mask, which is agreement between both masks. So we get a IOU score of 0.63, meaning 60% agreement between the cell pose and the ground truth. Next. We can see here HDPE has performed extremely well in cell pose as compared to other PSPA, LDP, and PET. We can see 0.6% of 0.6 IOU score, which is 60% accuracy. This is a strip plot. Here we can see HDPE has performed really well, where we can see good variability between the masks, which are from points which are 0.7 greater than 0.7 IOU. We see 30% more than 0.7 IOU. A lot of lie between 0.5 and 0.7, and All other, we can see there is a very high variability in PS and very low IOU band in PA, LDP, PET, and PP.
So Yali, if you can please finalize.
Box plot also shows a very high variability in PS. We can see there are two extremes there, and then a lot of outliers in PP, and then HDP has performed extremely well here as well. So consolidating all the results, HDP has performed really well, and in cell post mask segmentation. And for the future research, we are focusing on expanding data sets across diverse regions and image conditions, capturing more features like texture, reflection, and transparency. And Siddharth can explain more about the features.
Oh, yeah. To summarize in a few short words, we are trying to capture more features like opacity to help train the model better and pick up more kinds of plastic. Yeah, that is most of the uh, general idea for future research. Thank you so much for your time, and we apologize for going over the allotted time slot. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Then we can go to the next details. So, Dr. Fernandez, you want to now minutes?
Yes, so now we have our next speaker. We have Alice, who will be presenting on the topic of US-Mexico border and surveillance, focusing on the perception of people. So please go ahead, Alice. If you want to share your screen, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
You have to unmute. Alice, we cannot hear you.
Alice, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, everybody. Can you
We
guys
can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Today, I'm going to analyze my research study that is US-Mexico Border Surveillance Study, Community Voices and Technology, and AI at the border. But before I start, I would like to begin by recognizing that we're here in Belém, this city in Para, on traditional lands of the indigenous people of the Amazon. And I honor the many nations that have cared for the region for generations, including the Munduruku, Kayapo, Tupinamba, Terema, Tembe, and other whose presence continue to shape and protect the Amazon to this day. I pay respect to the elders, the leaders, and the knowledge seekers, and all the indigenous communities who continue to enduring the stewardship of this land and inspire for global climate change. So on that note, I would like to start with the agenda, introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, limitation, and future research with conclusion. A little bit about me. I am the main researcher at the Metabolism Society regarding this research paper, but this couldn't be done without the help of both Dr. Gabriela Fernandez, that is the director of Metabolism City's Living Labs, and additionally even the help of Dr. Domenico Vito, that is the co-director of Metabolisms of Cities. So thank you very much for your help. A little bit of the introduction and the problem at hand. With artificial intelligence being introduced at the US-Mexico border, especially San Diego and Tijuana cities, we noticed that there is a problem and there's a focus on some threats regarding privacy, ethics, and the social impacts. The threats and impacts are especially on the psychological well-being, with triggers such as behavioral self-regulation, heightened vigilance, and the feelings of alienations. This all results with increased stress, anxiety, self-censorships, and my study especially looks at this and tries to understand how we can properly fix it and all. And so my study specifically aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially with a few different ones, but especially with the Leave No One Behind. And therefore wanting to emphasize equity and public engagement. As already stated, it does address different UN Sustainable Development Goals, such as the SDG 3, 9, and 10, the good health, well-being, industry innovation, infrastructure, and the reduced inequalities. Additionally, the Leave No One Behind approach. As already stated, my research specifically focused on the southern region of the United States, with San Diego and Tijuana being two of my main case studies regarding this and the utilization of artificial intelligence at the border. As you can see, this is what the border looks like: the San Ysidro port of entry in the San Diego, California part, and the El Chaparral crossing located in Tijuana, Mexico. But additionally, it's the same border, just different names. The case study, as already stated, I'm going to look at the San Ysidro port of entry. It is located within the city of San Diego, but it's in federal jurisdiction, and is one of the largest port of entries, looking at 50 to 60 acres and one of the busiest in the Western Hemisphere. It's busy because it sees around 70,000 vehicles and 20,000 pedestrians entering almost every day. It additionally has a very important trade and marketplace in a certain sense, with seeing 240 billion goods and trade happening, especially in this area of the world, because it's highly valuable and you see trade, vehicles and pedestrians entering. It's highly surveillance. And we can see here different examples with surveillance towers, drones, and cameras and biometrics being used at this location. So the literature review regarding this, we have two sides of this. We have U.S. Customs Borders declaring that deploying artificial intelligence is going to help officers and Border Patrol agents in securing the border. But on the other side, we have human rights groups declaring that there is a lack of oversight. There's no clear frameworks or public oversight, and this raises transparency issues and accountability concerns. Additionally, we have civil liberty risk, low public trust, with 25% of Americans declaring that it might affect their civil liberties, and there's a missing community voices. And this is where my research enters, my survey and my research. As already stated, we have different aspects of the literature review, with public low trust, community reactions are divided, and the last one, local voices are largely ignored, where my survey enters and try to find a solution to that. My survey examines the community perceptions of AI at the U.S.-Mexico border, emphasizes privacy, ethics, and social impacts. And this was done in collaboration not only with Metabolisms of City at San Diego State, but even to the Universidad Autónoma de Baja California. And thank you very much to Dr. Meza for helping me in achieving this goal, in having it shared on the Mexican side. The survey timeline is starting in 2024. It expanded until 2025, and my research did end in March 27, 2025. My survey comprised of 39 questions with 201 participants, and the survey was both in English and in Spanish. And as already stated, it was shared both in San Diego and in Tijuana, Mexico. And Qualtrics software was utilized to help out. The task of the survey, as already declared, was to explore community perceptions and especially look at the impacts of surveillance, such as stress, anxiety, self-censorships. And something that came out at first in the research was that you found two different benefits and risks. So benefits, you have faster border crossings, enhanced security, but on the other hand, you have risks such as privacy violation, racial profiling, misidentification, and government overreach. Materials and methods. Pearson correlation was a method that was utilized, and 6 hypothetical questions were performed to understand better the answers that participants gave. So we have a geographic proximity and privacy concerns, AI knowledge and trust, demographic and perceived bias, experience, behavior response, professional, and then age and media and privacy concerns. General descriptives, we have a good kind of distribution of the genders. Age distribution, we have 61% being between the ages of 18 and 24. And then nationality, we see mainly United States. And AI knowledge, we have people that are somewhat knowledgeable, with the second most seen percentage being neutral people. There are 5 different thematic themes of the survey, with awareness and understanding of AI surveillance technology, privacy, ethics, and civil liberties, trust and perceived effectiveness of AI, personal community impact, and lastly, demographic and digital behavior. As already declared, there were 6 hypothesis questions that were stated to try to understand better how people felt and the correlation, if it was a positive correlation or a negative correlation. And therefore, Pearson correlation was used. The Pearson correlation was a quantitative method that was used to measure the strengths and direction of the linear relationship. And as I already stated, it's either a perfect positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no linear relationship. And we understood if something had a strong correlation with 1 star located on the table, as you can see on our right. And if it was very strong, it had 2 stars. Strong in the sense, highly significant correlation. So when looking at the first hypothesis question and the answer, and was regarding geographic proximity and privacy concerns, we found that there was a weak but statistically significant negative correlation, meaning that many individuals farther from the border saw AI technologies as less relevant to their lives. Kind of makes sense. Additionally, the second hypothesis, we have AI knowledge and trust. Here we found that the idea that an increased AI literacy, artificial intelligence literacy, is linked to greater trust and perceived fairness. In hypothesis 3, demographics and perceived bias, we found that there was differing views regarding who was harmed depending on the background. Here I included open-ended questions that supported these findings, and many people talked about racial biases, discrimination, disproportionate harm to immigrants, LGBTQ community, and individuals and marginalized groups being the main people that have been feeling that harm of the artificial intelligence. Hypothesis 4, experience and behavioral response. We see the participants emphasize the need for human oversight, bias reduction, transparency, data protection that will help the AI have respect human rights and ensure that this framework is upheld. The 5th, this is where we see a significant more results. Here we see a lot of people trusting artificial intelligence, but still being skeptical regarding the usage of it in real time, and therefore if it can really fix safety concerns. So a lot of people vote through open-ended questions that AI could address different problems such as cartel violence, smuggling, kidnappings, and resource theft. The last hypothesis question looks at age, media, and privacy concerns. Here we find that a lot of people that have knowledge of artificial intelligence are in the younger population, while older individuals declare that they are more likely to worry about artificial intelligence infringing on personal privacy and at the border specifically. So contributions. We have some nuances being brought forward regarding artificial intelligence, but open-ended questions and responses do show that there is altered behavior, privacy concerns, and calls for oversights. In my survey, I did find that there were some limitations, such as the pool of 201 people was small, especially because it was English dominated, and therefore there was a low Spanish uptake that did not represent some key groups. Additionally, it was mainly online, and therefore people that did not have a digital access or literacy, they couldn't really focus there. And additionally, or take the survey. Additionally, I especially looked at the government section and not the private sector. Therefore, future direction would be to inform policy transparency and impact assessment and guide bias mitigation. So conclusion, this survey mainly focused and research on public perception of AI surveillance and the role of identity, border proximity, and AI knowledge. The findings did showcase that a lot of people did understand artificial intelligence, but they did have doubts about the effectiveness. They even highlighted that there was a need for surveillance that is effective, transparent, accountable, and rights respecting. In future research, I would like to look at more underrepresented groups and focus on the private sector. This survey and this research has at its core the leave no one behind approach, of trying to elevate the marginalized voices. And if I do have the opportunity of doing it in the future, I would like to emphasize this even more. Therefore, these are all my references. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. And if you guys have any additional questions, please email me or reach out to me on LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alice, and congratulations for the work. We're going to continue to some other case studies. Here, one of the important topics is also agriculture. So we're working also in an agriculture platform that is integrating AI for supporting climate adaptation. This I will give the floor to Aichitan. Aichitan, thank you for being with us. You can share your screen. Please kindly ask to stay in time to 10 minutes. Thank you, bye.
Please go ahead, Ashutan. The floor is yours, Ashu. We cannot hear you, Ashu.
Just put the text on the window, Aichitan. Okay, push the full screen mode now.
Where is that?
Okay. Full screen mode. Present mode.
On the bottom right. Full
Right.
screen. Bottom right, yes. One more, another one. Keep going. Up to the right.
More.
Full screen. There you go. Right there. Go ahead.
Can you see the full screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, I think if you want to present it this way, if you want to just push control plus, we can go ahead and start.
Okay.
I think you can go this way.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh yeah, good morning everyone. I'm Achuten and it's an honor to share our work titled AI for Farmers, Real-Time Crop Disease Detection and Advice, a project that integrates computer vision and language models to empower smallholder farmers. This initiative reflects the spirit of COP30, using technology not only for climate resilience but also One Health. So, next. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge our research team at San Diego State University, Metabolism of Cities Living Lab. Our project is guided by Professor Gabriela Fernandez and Dr. Domenico Vito, Associate Director, and I'm Ajutan, graduate student in Big Data Analytics at San Diego State University. And together we form AHI, this is read as AHI for farmers teams. We call our prototype AHI for farmers, inspired by GA words, AHI meaning community, reflecting our vision of AI that keeps farmers and their communities at the heart of climate adaptation. So what is One Health? One Health means One Health means the health of people, animals, plants, and environment are all connected. So when one is affected, like when plants get sick, it can impact the others too. That's why plant health is so important. Healthy plants improve food security, support good nutrition, and help keep animals and ecosystems strong balance. So our project follows this approach, and I also proud to share that this project was presented at 2025 One Health Conference in Rome, Italy, contributing to global efforts for sustainable and resilient food systems.
So the challenge, according to Food Agriculture Organization of the United States, up to 40% of global crop yields are lost every year to pests and diseases. These losses are not just agricultural, they are health, nutrition, and climate challenges. This disproportionately affects smallholder farmers, who are often the backbone of local food system, especially in developing regions. So for timely detection and safe intervention are key, but access to lab testing and agricultural extension services is limited in many rural communities. Our problem statement, most smallholder farmers face three major barriers: the limited access to expert or testing facilities, high cost of lab-based diagnosis, and over-reliance on chemical pesticides, which brings health risk, water pollution, and biodiversity loss. Many farmers simply cannot distinguish between similar-looking crop diseases. This leads to delay and or incorrect pesticide use, worsening the problem and damaging both health and ecosystem. Now let's look the key research gap. Globally, up to 40% crop yields are lost every year due to pests and diseases, but few tools are truly ready for farmers in field. AI models like CNN and YOLO show accuracy in lab tests, but they still lack real-world validation to prove effectiveness on actual farms. And existing mobile apps such as Plant Village, Nuru, and Plantic show potential but face barriers such as limited crop coverage, internet dependence, and commercial restrictions. These challenges make it difficult for smallholder farmers, especially in rural area, to access reliable, affordable, and practical digital tools for plant disease management. Our study aims to develop a practical and accessible AI tool for farmers, especially in rural or low connectivity areas. We introduced AHI, an open source, offline friendly system that combines YOLO V8 for plant disease detection and LangChain for treatment and prevention advice. The goal is detect disease in key crops such as cashew, cassava, tomato, and maize, and then provide simple verified guidance for safe prevention and treatment. To empower smallholder farmers under one health approach that links plant, animals, human, and environmental health. And so overall, AHI makes advanced AI tools more inclusive and practical for the farmers who need the most. So how the workflow operates. So when farmer uses a simple app to take a photo of a diseased leaf, the image is processed through our trained YOLO V8 model. Is a computer vision system that can identify crop and detect the specific disease. So once identified, the system passes the result to the LLM, language model-based advisory module. And then the module generates treatment and prevention recommendations drawn from trusted agriculture sources. And we in the treatment recommendation, we are prioritizing non-chemical intervention first. So here is the technical details. So we use a YOLO V8, a fast and lightweight model for real-time plant disease detection. And then the model was trained using CCMT dataset with about 13,500 images, and then we expanded to 32,000 samples covering 20 disease classes. And the advisory system, we integrate a long chain and GPT-based model to provide simple evidence-based recommendation, and then use retrieval augmentation system check every response against a verified agricultural source for accuracy. So for the performance, our across four main crops, cashew, cassava, and maize tomato, our model achieved precision of 0.85 and recall 0.86. So our strongest detection were for cassava mosaic and cashew red rust. So because both of with distinct visual patterns, and for weaker performance occur in diseases with overlapping symptoms like cassava brown spot. So here is the examples from the field test. In image with clear lesion patterns or discoloration, YOLO accurately detect the disease boundary. However, when display multiple overlapping symptoms, environmental damage mimic disease accurately drop. So the we will continue to expand training images for different regions and lighting condition to improve the performance. So for the advisory system, our principle was simple: safety first, science-based, and farmer-friendly. Its recommendation followed a three-tier priority: preventive, only using resistant varieties, crop rotation or pruning, and non-chemical control. Even if we suggest a chemical treatment, we always use PPE reminder. So how does this project support One Health framework in terms of how it reduces pesticide exposure for people, provides cleaner feed for animals, and protect pollinators and water quality? For food and equity, it improves nutrition through stable crops yields and promotes fairness with its open source offline design and empower smallholder farmers without internet access. So it aligned with the FAO One Health vision, connecting human, animal, plants, and environmental health through innovation. So this prototype still has a few limitations. First, the scope is narrow. It currently supports only 4 crops. In terms of accuracy, it struggles with diseases that have subtle or overlapping symptoms. For advisory, it's still retrieval based, not yet conversational or interactive. And under accessibility, it lacks multilingual and low literacy features. This gap highlights future development is needed. So we to expand the coverage, we add more coverage to more staple and specific crops, and improving accuracy by collecting larger or more diverse data sets. And maybe you can using advanced models such as YOLO V11, and enhancing the advisory system to make interactive and conversational, increasing accessibility with multilingual support, and offline first deployment to ensure farmer in rural Africa can still access the tools. Finally, field validation and pilot tests with the community, gathering feedback to guide iterative improvement. So this wouldn't be possible without our collaborator. So we thank to Metabolism of Cities Lab, Living Lab, State University, and we also thanks to University of Energy and Natural Resource of Ghana for the data set, and we also thanks for the developers of RoboFlow, LangChain, Neutralytics, YOLO V8, OpenAI, Streamlit, and Hugging Face for providing tools and API enabled for this research. And here my key reference. And to conclude, AI for farmers is not just about technology, it's about giving farmers real-time, trustworthy information to protect their crops, their health, and their communities. So by integrating AI, One Health principles, and open access tools, we are reimagining how smallholder farmers can thrive in face of climate and disease challenges. Thank you very much. And I invite you to try our demo apps to join us and shaping the next generation of sustainable agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tani, for the donation. Thank you also for the final message that we want to make next month. Let's go to our last presentation. We think that is also interesting to go do citizen science, and I will give the floor to our community, who is connected from the table. Hi, Emanuele, thank you for being with us. If you want to show, please, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you guys see my screen?
No, we cannot.
Oh, it's not. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Emmanuel Ramini, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the Trash to Treasure project, which is a citizen science project. And first, I just want to thank Dr. Vito for having me here. It's an honor to be able to present to you guys. And so the Trash to Treasure project is a project where we turn beach trash into usable data for science, education, and policy. And I applied this. I worked on beaches in Athens and all over Italy, but you can apply this science anywhere and at any time. And analyzing data on plastic pollution is a very manually tedious process of collecting and taking pictures, but also technically difficult of like analyzing all these pictures and getting all the data in one place. And we wanted to try to bridge the gap to allow the most amount of data to come in as possible, make it as easy as possible for everyone. That way we can increase our efforts and get more out of everyone. And to do this, I analyzed a couple of beach cleanups myself, and then by hand. And then I built a Python-based pipeline to replicate this process of cleaning, standardizing, and mapping the data. Just a little bit about myself. Emmanuel Ramini. I'm a senior at CU Boulder in Colorado, dual major computer science and sociology. And I've had the immense pleasure of growing up in San Diego and visiting my family in Catania and Sicily. So I've grown up around beaches my whole life, and very important to me. And I learned about this project when I met Dr. Vito while studying in Milan. And I stole these slides from him, but a little bit to explain what citizen science is in respect of Trash to Treasure. So the collection and analysis of data related to natural world by members of the general public is typically part of a collaborative project. Professional sciences is citizen science. It allows the kind of average individual to be able to contribute and make a difference, and actually make a very impactful difference, because we need the average citizen to help out. As scientists can't do all the grunt work themselves, and it's an integral process. So we need both the citizens working together with the scientists, and the scientists there to accept the citizens and help them be impactful. And there's a 7-step toolkit that we've created to identify the production, consumption, and waste management systems that generate marine litter. The first step is community involvement. Then you want problem identification and mapping hotspots, and then SWOT analysis and a multi-level monitoring approach using ICT in citizen science, and then field data collection, which is commonly through observation sampling, and then a perception of tourism, as tourism is one of the most impactful things for marine pollution and plastic pollution, and we'll do that through survey interviews, and then a final step of evaluation of outcomes. And then here's some of the methodology of the beach litter. It is a very easy to replicate process. There's a video explaining exactly what to do. You go collect trash on the beach, you take pictures, which are then geotagged, and then you want to sort the litter items and try to keep track of material and weight of them so we can collect more data on them. And then you can activate a beach litter anywhere over the world, and allows anyone to come connect with our project and help give us more data. And then here's my personal work with the cleaning up beach data. On the left, you can see the final maps we did of a couple beaches like Villa Piana in Italy. And if you click on any of the points on the right, this pop-up on the left, this pop-up on the right will come up, which will give you all the information about that piece of trash, the data point, the location, the weather condition, an image preview right there. And I did this by pulling geolocation data from observation data in my maps. And then I connected the field observations in each transect to the corresponding image. I generated image download and view links for everything, as well as pulling the date and time. And then I filled in the rest of the constant data and generated it back into this KML format so we can have this nice map with the pictures and all the data in one place. And why is this important? We know that community involvement is the best way to clean up beaches, and we want to capture this effort that's already being used to collect structured data around the cleanup in order to make it even more efficient and maybe use it with new tools in the future. Like we can use this data as well as pictures to train a models to detect trash and then maybe even collect the trash themselves in the future. And it can help, it makes it obvious to notice any hotspots or dominant materials in trash. And every beach in every state and city is different and it's gonna have their own problems and needs. And this will kind of help make that more obvious. That way the local government can enact an appropriate response to their specific cleanup or preservation needs. And it's just trying to help everyone out to simplify this process and make it more efficient so we can make a better world. In terms of data handling and organization, I did the first part manually, but we want to make this automatic, and so that makes it as simple as possible for other people to replicate what I did, so we can have all of our data in one nice clean place so anyone can use it, and it's all standardized so we know it works. I wrote 3 Python scripts to do this. I first pulled the latitude, longitude, my maps, and then one to generate the image links, the download links, and then fill in all the extraneous information. And there's a couple prompts that the user will have to fill out, like the state, the site, the weather, but it's made to be as simple as possible. And the only manual thing we have to do right now is the human has to connect the images to the description, which is the most time-consuming process. And then I made a clear set of instructions so anyone can follow this at any time, anywhere. And then moving forward, I want to improve it to have even less human input. We want to make it as accessible as possible so you can have the biggest amount of data possible. And then, as the other presentations talked about, training a model to automatically recognize the plastic in the picture. And then you can use unsupervised learning to find hidden patterns in this beach cleanup data in order to try to diagnose more causes or solutions to these problems. And then we want to eventually open up so local groups, schools, and researchers all over the world can use it, and we can all have this massive database to learn from together. All right, thank you. That's all I have for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And here's a QR code to the Trash Treasure website if you're more interested. And here's a picture of beautiful Catania, the beach in Sicily, where I grew up going to. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much. And thank you to all the speakers. Big applause for this very great example of how data can realize like SDGs can support sustainable development. So thank you very much to all the speakers. Thank you, Dr. Fernandez, for being with us. And thank you also to the Digital Innovation Pavilion for hosting this event and other more events. You can see here that any days there are a lot of events, thematic events that are using data. And we demonstrate how data can foster climate action and innovation. And if you know more about the Metabolism Institute Lab, you can go to our website, metabolisminstitutelab.org. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Thank you.